Hey guys, it's Tealis here. I am inside the Fellhammer, ready to bring you the one class many of people have been waiting for a long time. This will be the first time we are taking a look at any of the Demon Hunter specs. In this video, we will be looking at the first of the two videos looking at Havoc Demon Hunters. This is the DPS spec for Demon Hunters, which will be coming out in World of Warcraft Legion. The Fellhammer, which I am now running around in, is actually their class order hall. It is a big Legion it's a big Legion kind of spaceship. It's kind of like it's almost like StarCraft a little bit. It kind of gives the feeling of like a carrier, a Protoss carrier, or a a battleship, a battle cruiser, a Terran battle cruiser. So it's kind of weird seeing that in World of Warcraft. But this is the Fellhammer. We've basically hijacked it as Demon Hunters. And as you like start at level 98 and you start leveling up your Demon Hunter, you'll start to get the story of how Demon Hunters, you know how they came to be, how things were back in Illidan. You kind of get like you get to play through like a flashback of like how things were at Black Temple, like right as Black Temple was about to be raided by us a long time ago. So it's pretty cool. But this is the beginning of the Havoc Demon Hunter videos. There will be two. In this video, I'll be looking at the abilities for a Havoc Demon Hunter and the artifact weapons. And then in the second video, I will show you the PvE and PvP talents for a Havoc Demon Hunter. These videos may end up being a lot longer than expected because I'm going to have to be going through every single ability one at a time. And because of that, there will also be times in which I'm having to kind of go back and I'm going to have to go back and kind of reiterate what an ability does, especially like in the PvE and PvP talent section, because this is all absolutely brand new content to you guys. This is completely different from what you guys are used to. Yes, Survival Hunter was technically the first brand new spec that I've really introduced in this class overview series. However, you guys already knew stuff like traps and Raptor Strike and stuff like that was something that you'd used before in very kind of far away previous expansions, but now that is no longer the case. This is completely new and all the abilities are different. So I'm basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight through the entire spell book and show you everything as we go through it, like just straight from A to Z. So before I get started with the very first ability, Blade Dance, I do have to explain how Demon Hunters work. Demon Hunters are a leather-wearing class that function very much like a warrior. If I were to put warriors and rogues on kind of a, I guess you could say, on a line, rogues being on the left, warriors being on the right, monks came in and they were in the middle of that. They were closer to rogues, much closer to rogues, but they were on that line. Demon Hunters are on that same line, however they are closer to warriors. They do not have the armor that warriors have. They are like leather wearers, just like monks and rogues are. However, their resource functions very much like warriors. It is fury, okay? They function with fury. That's how they work, is with fury, which is how warriors work. However, they took the monk approach. If you remember when monks initially came out, basically the only way you were able to get any chi was by using jab. They kind of tested this no auto attack build, or auto attacks really don't do anything. So very much like a Windwalker monk, the generation of your fury will not be done through auto attacks. It's going to be done through ability. You have your normal little auto attacks that will deal damage, but if you actually want to generate fury, you're going to have to get off a certain ability. And that's the ability what I want to start off with before I get into anything else, just so that you guys understand. That ability is Demon's Bite. Demon's Bite, quickly attack for 61,500 physical damage, and it generates 20 to 30 fury. So I'm going to go ahead and use it on these imps here. And as you can see, just nice quick attack. And I love the sound effects that they've done for Demon Hunter. And as you can see, that purple bar at the top is building up. Now, Demon Hunters, I haven't gotten to Demonology Warlocks yet, but they've lost a lot because a lot of what they had was kind of iconic to what Illidan and Demon Hunters are all about. And so a lot of some things like metamorphosis and so forth was taken away from demonology warlocks and instead given to demon hunters instead. So when we get to demonology warlocks, you'll see how things have changed there. However, some of the things like your ability to go into metamorphosis form is now part of the demon hunters. So I just wanted to kind of give that little insight there before we go any further. So demon's bite is your generic kind of building a it's your fury building ability. That's what you're going to use to build fury. Your first ability here on this list is Blade Dance. It costs 35 Fury, it has a 9.25 second cooldown, and it strikes all nearby enemies for 87,000 physical damage and increase your chance to dodge by 100% for 1 second. So, this is pretty cool. This is basically your AoE, your main AoE that you have. And I'm going to use it right here. You're going to see there's a lot of numbers popping up. So you can see right there, I dash all over the place and deal lots of damage. So I'm going to use it again out here in the open so you can actually see what it looks like. But we'll go ahead and see right here. You dash all over the place and you slam down. And when you're in that spell animation, basically is when you're immune. So that's when you have 100% dodge chance. So if you're like trying to dodge a big spell coming in or something like that, like I don't know, maybe a mage is getting ready to fire off a huge pyro blast, you can, right before the end of that cast, it doesn't matter where you are, just fire off a Blade Dance and cause them to miss it. Allow yourself to dodge it. So that's pretty cool. The second ability here is Blur. Increases your chance to dodge by 50% and reduces all damage taken by 35% for 10 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and use this here, just so you can see the nice spell visual on my body. And there you go. So there's one of your defensive abilities as a Demon Hunter. We're going to skip Chaos Blades because it's a talent, and we'll get to that in the next video. Next we have Chaos Nova. Unleash an eruption of fell energy, stunning all nearby enemies for 5 seconds and dealing 27,000 chaos damage. So this is basically another form of CC. I need to build up my Fury here again real quick. It's not hard at all. And I'm going to show it from the front here because this is one of the abilities that actually transforms you into a demon for a few seconds. And it's really cool. So when you use it, as you can see right there, I kind of explode into my demon form and then all of the imps are stunned. I'm not gonna joke around when I tell you that this is really powerful. There are many times in Battlegrounds in which I've been stunned by this. Having that 5-second stun in an AoE is huge. And it's a 1 minute cooldown. It's like taking Hammer of Justice from Paladins and then just like souping it up and making it even better and using it again. And so because of that, it's really cool. I do want to show this to you one more time. From the opposite angle so that you can see what it looks like from the backside. But basically you just transform into a huge demon, or I don't know if you call it demon or not, I'm not sure on the lore and so forth, but you basically kind of, you do your transformation, your demonic transformation, much like Illidan has done in his storied history. So I'm going to go ahead and use it again. Here's Chaos Nova, as you can see right there, stun everyone. And I just pop into my demon form real quick, my demonic form real quick, and, unleash the fell energy, stunning everyone. So, with that, let's move on to the next ability. We have Chaos Strike, costs 40 Fury, slice your target for 128,000 chaos damage, critical strikes refund 23. I'm not quite sure what chaos damage is. Usually when they have something like that, like astral damage or anything like that, it's a combination of something. Like I believe astral damage is a combination of both arcane and nature. As far as chaos damage, I think I'm not too familiar with warlocks, but I believe that's fire and shadow combined together. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what it is. Chaos Strike is going to be your baseline single target DPS. Okay. So while your Demon Bite will generate your Fury, your Chaos Strike is going to be what actually does damage. So as you can see right there, I can continue to attack, and I'm doing some great damage with these crits here. But they'll chunk through your Fury pretty quickly, so you have to be careful, but it is really easy to generate Fury. That's one thing I like about this, is that you're able to generate Fury really quickly as well. So there is Chaos Strike. The next ability is Consume Magic. It is 20-yard range, instant, 15-second cooldown, interrupts enemy spellcasting, and locks them out of that school for 3 seconds. Generates 50 Fury on successful interrupts. So basically, this is your melee interrupt. Every melee now has their 15-second cooldown interrupt. The cool thing is that it's a 20-yard range. Most melees have like basically they're cut off at like at max a 10-yard range, or they're stuck to melee range for their interrupt. This is a 20-yard range, which is pretty powerful for a demon hunter, so that's nice to have. As you can see right there, I launched it. It was really difficult to see because I was targeting the imp and the icon was over, but a little tiny purple kind of a tiny purple glyph appears the target that you're silencing. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit so you can see it better. You can zoom in, look right above the imp and you'll see the little purple above him. There you go. That shows that's the target that you have silenced. The next ability here we have is Darkness, 3-minute cooldown. So we have another defensive cooldown here. Summons darkness around you in an 8-yard radius, cloaking friendly targets and granting a 15% chance to avoid all damage from an attack lasts 8 seconds. So this can be kind of confusing because it says cloaking friendly targets. That makes it seem as though you have stealth. However, from everything I've seen from this, it does not grant you stealth. There is no way to get stealth as a demon hunter, unless of course you're night elf and you use your racial. So that's kind of odd for that to be there. For that specific wording to be in the tooltip. Basically, when it says cloaking friendly targets, it's saying, creates an area, an 8-yard radius in which basically it's like a smoke bomb, I guess you could say, where you avoid damage from attacks. Okay, but it's only a 15% chance to avoid all damage from an attack. So I'm going to go ahead and use this here so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to use it right there. As you can see, I'm not cloaked at all. I can still, I haven't gone into stealth at all, but I do have that 15% reduction, or 15% chance to avoid all damage from an attack, and that's what Darkness is. Simple as that. Here we have Demon's Bite. I'm going to show again, once again. It's a very simple animation. So we're back to Demon's Bite. With that, let's move to the next one, which is Eye Beam. This is one of my absolute favorite abilities, because this actually transforms you into the demon as well. Kind of your metamorphosis form as well, which is really cool. So Eye Beam blasts all enemies directly in front of you for 138,000 chaos damage, and Eye Beam always critical strikes. 20-yard range, 50 fury, and it's channeled. Now it says 139,000 chaos damage. I'm not sure if that's over the course of the channeling or that's per tick. I'm pretty sure it's over the course of the channeling. But I'm going to use it here and you're going to see, I'm going to use it from the front again so you can see, oh, I'm going to have to use it from the side here or else the damage numbers are going to pop up way too much. I'm going to go ahead and use it here so you guys can see. It's one of my absolute favorite abilities as a demon hunter. First I need to get closer here and build up my rage a little bit. Okay, rage is up, and now we will use Eye Beam. As you can see there, basically you go into your metamorphosis form, you just launch at the target, dealing lots and lots of damage. It's really cool. I really like this. People like to do the Chaos Nova into Eye Beam stun combo, and it really bursts down a target really hard, and you have to be careful of that. So one thing that I have not tested, and we can test right here, is whether or not you can actually move an Eye Beam. I do not think that you can. So once you go ahead and use that ability, you have to make sure that you actually are able to you're able to make sure that the target is in the right spot, because I do not think you can aim. So we're going to go ahead and build this up again and use Eye Beam again, and I'll use it here. You can see from this end, okay, you can move back and forth. So if the target starts moving, you can move to adjust for their where they are. And if they're in somewhat close range, remember this is a 20-yard range, so I can attack them from kind of far away and still be able to get the damage off on that target. That is the wonderful ability of Eye Beam. We will test that one more time. However, while we wait for that to come up, we will go into the next ability, which is Fell Rush. Rush forward, incinerating anything in your path for 97,000 chaos damage. Generates 25 fury if you damage an enemy. So this is like your charge. However, this is a charge that's kind of, it's like meeting halfway between roll from a monk and a actual charge from a warrior. So you get fury from it, but at the same time you also it functions kind of like a monk's role in that you're not like actually choosing a target to actually go forward with it. So before we show Fell Rush, I'm going to show I-Beam one last time from this distance, and you'll go ahead and see right here. Oh, sorry, got to build up my I got to build up my Fury again. Okay, and then from this range right here, this should be definitely more than enough for a 20-yard range. Use it right here. Alright, oh my gosh. That's what I get for talking too much. I ran out of Fury before I was able to use it. So here we go. From this distance, as you can see, I can hit all those targets from this range. Pretty awesome. So, with that, let's go into Fell Rush and what it does. We've already explained the ability and what it does. However, do understand, it's 10-second recharge. Demon Hunters are a highly mobile class. They've built it that way. And you'll see it as we continue to kind of go throughout Demon Hunters and list off all of their abilities. But they, very much like monks, they're a high mobile class, and so this is kind of their charge, and it's what allows them to really kind of go in and out of combat really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and use this here. As you can see, I just charged in, and I was able to generate Fury just off of that. I have 2 charges on Fell Rush, and each one's on a 10-second cooldown, so that's awesome. It means I have one, like, I can use 2 immediately, and having them on 10-second cooldowns is amazing. That gives incredible mobility for this class, and it kind of has to have some pretty good mobility, because when you think of the other leather classes, druids can pop into bear form when things get dicey, rogues can vanish, etc. They can actually get themselves out of combat. The thing with, a monk, they're able to, they have several escape options, and so they kind of had to do the same thing with Demon Hunters. If you're going to give someone leather, and they're not going to be very guarded, they got to be able to have some mobility, or have special ways of getting in and out of combat like a rogue does, to keep themselves alive. So, we'll go ahead and use this here. As you can see, I can use it once, and then I can use it again twice. So I have 2 charges, and each of them are on that 10-second charge. Skip Fell Blade for now because it's a talent, and Fury of the Illidari we'll get when we get to the artifact weapon. The next tier is Glide. So it reduces your falling speed. You can activate this ability with the jump key while falling. So every Demon Hunter has the ability to glide. So if you're really hoping to, like, I don't know, if a Demon Hunter is just like sitting on a mountain and you want to Typhoon them off and think you're great about it, that's not going to work with a Demon Hunter because they can glide down. And actually, before we go any further with Glide, I'm going to point out this passive. You are able to jump again while near the apex of your first jump. So this is the class that can double jump. Okay? So Demon Hunters can double jump, and then they can glide. It kind of gives them some excellent mobility, and they can move across quicker some ways because of this. I'll demonstrate this over here on this ramp that goes down here so that you can kind of see better. But I can double jump, and then I can glide down all the way down here, and you can see how useful glide can actually be. And it's a part of their kind of toolkit, their ability to be very mobile. Now, in addition to this, you can also use Fell Rush with this. So I can double jump in the air, and then use Fell Rush, and then glide down. You can use Fell Rush in midair. That is one of the coolest things about this ability that I really do like about it, and it really gives some mobility to the class. So I can jump up in the air, then I can jump in different and charge in different directions, depending on whether my charge is all the way up for Fell Rush. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next ability. We have Imprison. 20-yard range, 10-second cooldown. Imprisons a demon for 1 minute. Damage will cancel the effect. This is their CC. I don't know if this will work with the Imprison Imps. It will not. It's not really powerful. So that's the only thing that's kind of disappointing about it, is that it's not really powerful. But it is an ability there that gives you some type of CC. Something tells me that once we get out of once we get out of Legion, and all the mobs are not, demons that we're facing for the most part, they will change Imprison to affect more different types of NPCs instead of just demons, because that's kind of really weak that it can only affect demons. It really kind of limits your ability to CC in like a dungeon setting and so forth. So I expect them to be changing that possibly a little bit. This is your big DPS ability. This is Metamorphosis. You 4-minute cooldown, leap into the air, and with an explosive force, leap into the air and land with explosive force, dealing 40,000 chaos damage to enemies within 8 yards and stunning them for 3 seconds. Upon landing, you are transformed into a hellish demon for 30 seconds, greatly empowering your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance abilities. Now, if you remember Chaos Strike, I said that was your main single target ability, and your Blade Dance is your main AoE ability. So, let's go ahead and set this up. This is a 30-second uptime on this ability. So, that's pretty awesome. 4-minute cooldown, pretty long, but 30 seconds in demon form is really powerful. So, I'm going to go ahead and use this, and as you can see, I have a little targeting reticle. It kind of works just like Illidan's demon, his Illidan's demon metamorphosis inside not World of Warcraft, inside Heroes of the Storm. Functions exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and use it now. As you see there, I slammed there, and now I'm permanently in my demon form. I'm going to build this up, and you can see I now have Annihilation. Slice your target for 191,000 chaos damage, and Chaos Strike has a 30% chance to have its cost refunded. So you can see the new Chaos Strike right there. That's the new Chaos Strike. And then the next new ability, before Demon Hunter runs out, is Death Sweep. Strike all nearby enemies for 157,000 damage, and then the dodge chance is still the same. It still functions pretty much the same as before in terms of its dodge chance, and its functionality is still the same. Its Blade Dance is still there. It still does basically the same thing. It'll strike everyone for more damage than before. The only one that really kind of changes is that it gives Chaos Strike more damage and a little bit more refunding on their critical, on the refund side of things. When demonic form comes up again, we will display it again so that, when metamorphosis comes up again, we'll display it again so you get kind of a good idea of what it is. I guess you could say another look of how it functions. So, going down here, we have Spectral Sight. This is the ability that rogues are complaining about all across the forums and crying about. Basically, it allows you to see enemies and treasures through physical barriers, as well as enemies that are stealthed and invisible. Lasts 10 seconds. Attacking or taking damage disrupts the sight. So, you're going to see this here. It's outlined in red. Everyone's outlined in red. So, see how you can see these demons behind walls? They can't escape me. So that's really cool. I mean, Spectral Sight is basically, you're going to be able to pop that in a BG, and you're going to be able to have 33% uptime on this. You see a rogue coming in towards, Lumber Mill or whatever, you get to pop Spectral Sight and just hide in the shadows and find them. I do not think this works with Shadow Meld. Pretty sure it doesn't. If it did, it would be broken. If I was able to sit there as a Night Elf and use Spectral Sight and then see a rogue coming up, that would really make them angry. I don't even know where Shadow Meld is. Here it is. It's right here. I'm going to pull this down. So, we'll go ahead and try this again. I do not think this will work, but I think it's worth a try just to see. Okay, it does pop you out of Shadow Mode. Just making sure. But that is the spell visual for it. It's pretty cool. As you can see here, as I pop behind here, it shows the imps there, even though I'm behind a wall. So, really cool ability. Definitely an anti-rogue ability. This will become useful against sub-rogues, because subtlety rogues have an absurd amount of ability to be in stealth now. And, well, you won't really see this much with maybe an outlaw rogue. A little bit with an assassination rogue. It'll definitely be useful with a subtlety rogue, just because of that ability. Next ability here is Throw Glaive. 30-yard range, 10-second cooldown, throws a demonic glaive at the target, dealing 86,000 physical damage. The glaive can ricochet to 2 additional enemies within 10 yards. So, basically, you have a ranged option in case you are far away from the target. So, as you can see right there, very simple. Okay, 10-second cooldown, throws a glaive. Basically keeps a target in combat, otherwise you're not going to be really using this in your rotation. 86,000 damage is not as good as something as Chaos Strike. It doesn't cost anything to actually use. However, I would much rather be generating Fury with Demon's Bite than throwing out my glaive. So basically it's if you're just too far from the target, and you still want to be able to deal some damage to the target. The last active ability we have here is Vengeful Retreat. Viciously assault nearby enemies and vault away. Assaulted enemies take 15,000 physical damage and add their movement speed reduced by 70% for 3 seconds. 25-second cooldown. So this is like disengaged for demon hunters, which is pretty cool. And it adds to the absolute absurdity of their mobility. I'm going to go ahead and use this right here, and you're going to see, as you can see, I can bounce back and get away. Pretty cool ability. Now, I believe you can also jump in it, and you can also use your Fell Rush out of it. So, I hope when you see these things, you start to see just how crazy your ability to move around is. Oh, for a second there, I thought that person just dove off the side of this cliff here. Basically, with Vengeful Retreat, and your double jump, and Fell Rush, and your ability to glide, there's a lot of mobility for a Demon Hunter. So I'm going to go ahead and use Vengeful Retreat again. I can jump at the very end of it. The animation is very long, so it's hard to get that jump off, but you can Fell Rush out of it. So when it comes up again, I will show you one more time, and you'll see how useful it can actually be. And then we will go back and check Metamorphosis before looking in at the passives for a Demon Hunter. So, it's just about up now, so we're going to go ahead and use Vengeful Retreat, and then I will use Fell Rush to show you how you can use it in mid-flight to get back on the target. So you can Fell Rush away from them and snare them, and then you can dash right back into their face and deal damage to them, which is a lot of fun. So, let's go ahead and go back into Metamorphosis form. So we can see, once again, those upgraded abilities for Chaos Strike and Blade Dance. So you can see what they look like. Starting with Death Sweep, it's 35 Fury and a 7.4 second cooldown. I believe that's less than what it was before. And then the other option is Annihilation, which is the same amount, but Chaos Strike has a 30% chance to have its cost refunded. That is a little bit different from what it is on baseline. As I return back into my regular form, you will see, I believe that the difference there is that, I believe it's either a 10% chance or, yes, okay, so the difference is that Critical Strikes refund 20 Fury. That's what Chaos Strike does. However, the improved version of this, Annihilation, has a 30% chance anytime you use it to refund all of the Fury cost. So there's the difference between the two. And then there's very little difference between Blade Dance and I believe it was Blade Fury. I can't remember what the actual name of it was. Basically, there's a cooldown reduction, but the Fury stays the same, the damage is increased, and the dodge chance is still the same. So the real big change for that is going to be the Annihilation over Chaos Strike. But Blade Dance is more powerful, and you overall are more powerful when you actually land and deal damage with it, so that's pretty cool. So with that, let's go ahead and look at the passives. Before getting the mastery, let's look at the one at the bottom. It is a passive. Killing an enemy sometimes creates a soul fragment that is consumed when you approach it, healing you for 25% of maximum health and generating 30 Fury. If the soul fragment came from a demon, you will deal 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. This makes demon hunters really powerful if you think about it, against like maybe a destruction warlock. If they have their imp out and you're able to just like rip through their imp really quickly, you have a 20% increased damage for 15 seconds that you could just use to completely waylay into that destruction warlock. So that's something to think about there. That's actually pretty cool in a PvP setting. But otherwise, this is basically sustainability out in the PvE world. This gives you that sustainability so that you can stay alive longer and you don't have to sit down and eat food or whatnot. Basically, it is kind of annoying to have that issue of dealing with, you know, having to sit down and eat something to, what is it? To restore your health. And Blizzard has done as much work as they could to kind of get rid of that for a very long time now in World of Warcraft Legion and in previous expansions. So, with that, we have this last one here, which is going to be the Mastery for a Demon Hunter, a Havoc Demon Hunter, and it's called Demonic Presence. It increases your Chaos damage by 10% and your movement speed by 10%. Now, this is kind of a big deal, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this, basically all of your, you want to make sure that you are highly mobile as a demon hunter, because that is what's going to be able to allow you to kind of survive in combat, because you don't have the normal abilities that a lot of other demon hunters, that a lot of other leather wearers have, to kind of secure and get your way in and out of combat. So having more mobility is awesome. So I personally do like the more movement speed part of this mastery. The more chaos damage, I'm kind of like, whatever, that's like flat damage buff, and I could really care less about that. I'm more interested in actual the movement speed buff that you get out of this mastery, which I really do like. So with that, that is everything for the abilities for Demon Hunter, which is pretty cool. I am loving this. This is one of my absolute favorite melee classes to play in World of Warcraft Legion, up there with Survival Hunters and Enhancement Shamans. Funny, those are like the new specs across the board. The old ones are getting crusty, and these new ones are a lot more fun to play. So I hope you guys really did like those abilities. With that, let's go ahead and go into the actual artifact weapon, which the artifact weapon for Demon Hunter are going to be called the Twin Blades of the Deceiver. Who would have guessed? So, you have the Twin Blades of the Deceiver, and I believe their names are going to be, they have unique names, yes they do, Varus and Miramus. So those are the two names of these fell blades, and I'll zoom in kind of close so you can see them. These are their base forms, so they're pretty cool. And let's go ahead and go through the talent tree. First we'll look at the ability that you first get, which is Fury of the Illidari. Throws the Twin Blades of the Deceiver in a whirlwind of energy, causing 167,000 chaos damage over 3 seconds to all nearby enemies. 40-yard range. So I'm going to go ahead and do it from here. Should work from here, but 40-yard range is pretty good. And as you can see right there, the 40-yard range, that was interesting. It was a 40-yard range, but when I use it on myself, it actually just does it, when I actually use it on this target here, it actually just did it on myself. So that could be a typo. It could be that the damage could be a 40-yard range in terms of how far it can be used. But for the most part, it's very odd that it did not throw the Twin Blades out. It just popped up right underneath me. So that may be a bug. I'm not quite sure. We'll wait for the cooldown to come up again so you guys can actually see what it actually does in terms of damage on actual abilities. And I'm not sure, I honestly cannot tell you if this will be changed or not, if you're actually going to throw your blades out and deal damage at a 40-yard range, or whether or not you actually are going to have to, be in melee range for this to actually work. Once again, this is kind of conflicting reports between the tooltip and what it says and what the ability actually does. So let's go ahead and use this again right here. As you can see right here, lots of damage going out as this whirls around. Pretty good. As you can see, it's doing a lot of damage as it's hitting each one of those imps for 159,000 damage, chaos damage. Pretty good. So with that, let's go ahead and go through the tree. Let's go ahead and start on the left-hand side of the tree, and we'll work our way all the way to the right. Instead of starting at the center here where you start, we're going to be starting on the left-hand side. This is the first epic portrait, and it's Inner Demons. Chaos Strike has a chance to unleash your Inner Demon, causing it to crash into your target and deal 110 chaos damage to all nearby enemies. This has actually happened several times, but I haven't really been able to show you. There it is right there. Thankfully I got it on the first try. So basically, like a shadow of my Inner Demon just pops out of nowhere and just crash lands in, which is pretty cool. Your next ability here is Deceiver's Fury. Rank 3 of 3. You generate 15 Fury each time you dodge an attack or spell. So really playing into that dodge. If you didn't notice, all of your defensive abilities are kind of based around dodge. That's your Demon Hunter for you. So dodge is now kind of more of a Demon Hunter thing and a Brewmaster thing. That's kind of where they have their mitigation. Brewmasters also have stagger, but dodge is kind of an important aspect for Demon Hunters. Up here we have Overwhelming Power. When Chaos Nova stuns a target, it has a 30% chance to generate a Soul Fragment. If you've forgotten what a Soul Fragment is, it is that passive that allows you to get some healing off of anytime a Soul Fragment appears. You can consume it for some healing. Let's see if a Soul Fragment appears. They have appeared several times as I've done this. but it's been hard to see. There, as you saw right there, I know that was difficult to see, but if you can rewind back a little bit, you'll see a little purple orb fly from the left-hand side of me into me. That is the soul fragment that that it is talking about. There's Feast on the Souls. When you consume a soul fragment, the remaining cooldown on I-Beam and Chaos Nova is reduced by 5 seconds. Well, this is awesome because I love I-Beam and I love Chaos Nova. Both of them are like two of my favorite abilities as a demon hunter, so being able to get more soul fragments is definitely something I'm not complaining about. And if you really do like that, you probably will be going towards the left side of the tree first instead of going up to the right side. Here in the middle, we have Critical Chaos, increases the critical strike damage dealt by Chaos Strike by 10%, so very basic damage buff. 3 ranks, so it'll be like 3, 6, and 10, or 3, 7, and 10. Down here, we have Sharpened Glaives, increases the damage dealt by Throw Glaive by 10%, same as before, 3 ranks, it'll be, you know, 3, 6, and 10, and 3, 7, and 10. And then up here we have a Chaos Vision, increases the damage dealt by I-Beam by 15%, 3 ranks, so that'll be 5% per rank. The next epic portrait we have up here is Anguish of the Deceiver. Each time I-Beam deals damage to a target, it also applies Anguish. When Anguish expires, it deals 10,000 chaos damage to the victim per application. So, let's go ahead and use this here. Whoops, I used the wrong ability. My bad. I don't want to try to shoot you, I want to actually deal damage to you. So, get this up. And we're going to use I-Beam, and we're going to keep close watch on this target right here. As you can see, it ticks several times. Got up to 9 targets. It got up to 9 ticks on that target, and because it got 9 ticks on that target, it dealt another 200,000 damage. It was a critical 200,000 damage at the end there, and that was the Anguish of the Deceiver coming out there. So that's actually pretty cool. Down here we have, this is the first ability you're going to get straight off the bat, and it is going to be War Glaives of Chaos. Increases the damage by Chaos Strike by 15%. That's only 1 rank, so you're going to get straight 15% buff right off the bat. Down here we have Balanced Blades. It increases the damage dealt by Blade Dance by 10% for each target within 8 yards. So, let me demonstrate this. I'm going to go over here to this target and share it with this other thing. Build up Blade Dance. So, basically I'm going to use it on this target. And as you can see there, I did 12,000, 13,000, 13,000, and it looks like I got a 40,000 at the end there. So let's go ahead and do it to these imps, and we'll see just how much damage I'm dealing for them. This will be kind of hard to track because there's so many imps, but I was dealing 60,000, 20,000, 40,000. There's a massive increase in the damage there because there were more targets. That is from Balanced Blades. Here we have Unleashed Demons, reduces the cooldown of Metamorphosis by 60 seconds. So originally it's a 5-minute cooldown, this brings it down to 4 minutes. Pretty useful. Up in the top here we have Demon Rage, increases the damage dealt by Demon's Bite by 10%. Once again, just straight, you know, 3, 7, 10%, or 3, 6, 10% increase in power there. We have Contained Fury, increases maximum fury by 30. So you originally start off with 100, however, with this you'll be able to grow it to 30, over 3 ranks, 10 per rank. You have Demon Speed, activating Blur generates 2 charges of Fell Rush. So if you've forgotten Blur, that's one of your defensive cooldowns. So if I use both cooldowns of Fell Rush and then use Blur, I once again have 2 charges again. And in case you haven't noticed, I can use Fell Rush again. I can use it twice consecutively while I'm still in air. If you haven't noticed that. I did it the first time, the second time I kind of hit ground before I was able to use it again. But yes, do take note, Fell Rush really is ultimate mobility. Jumping in the air doesn't matter, it's pretty awesome. The last little passive ability we have here is Illidari Knowledge, which reduces magic damage you take by 15%. 12%, so that's 3 ranks, that'll be 4% per rank. And then lastly, we have Rage of the Illidari. When the Fury of the Illidari ends, 100% of the damage it dealt erupts in an explosion of fell energy, dividing that chaos damage among all nearby enemies. So Fury of the Illidari is of course our ability here. We'll go ahead and use it. As you can see right there, you see damage, damage, damage. And then at the end, it says Rage of the Illidari dealt 171,000 chaos damage to the target. And I'm sure that's going to be different if I were to run inside and do it on this one target, because normally it's split amongst the targets. Here it would only be hitting one target, so it wouldn't be doing as much damage, but only one target would be receiving all of the extra damage afterwards. So we can go over here and take a look at what that would actually be like. I'm going to attack this guy. Is this a tanking dummy? Okay, I just want to make sure this wasn't a tanking dummy so I don't kill myself in the middle of this. I think the one over here is a tanking dummy. I've definitely done that before, people. Actually, one of my friends pointed out in one of my videos, as I was doing the Frosty K video, there was an unholy Death Knight in the background that was attacking the tanking dummy, and then just died flat out there, and he just didn't know what to do. It was pretty funny when I actually went back and saw that little Easter egg in the background of my video. So I'm going to go ahead and use Fury of the Illidari here. So you can see damage being done, and it does 180,000 damage at the end of it. So it does about the same, if I am correct. Rage of the Illidari did 171 to the imps, does 180,000 to a single target if it hits every single one, so it'll be, you know, different depending on that. So that's everything with Havoc Demon Hunter and the Twin Blades of the Deceiver, the artifact weapon, the new abilities. This is a really fun class. You guys are going to love it. It is going to be it's going to take a lot more skill than I think Death Knights did. People are worried about, you know, this being like the new Death Knight. Everyone's going to, you know, want to play a Death Knight and do it. And the thing is that's not going to be the case, I don't think, with this. When monks came out, people were not as inclined to get one leveled up because you had to level all the way up from 0. This is different. This is like Death Knights, where you only have like 5 levels until you're right up with everyone else. And so, or sorry, you only had like, what, 15 levels before you were on the same level as everyone else or something like that. And this time it's only going to be 2 levels. However, just know that Demon Hunters are going to take a bit more skill than your average Death Knight did. With a Death Knight, you had to be like, there were good Death Knights who really, you know, were a difference. Like the skill cap was really high, but also the skill floor was really high. So people, like anybody, can get onto a Death Knight and it was able to do relatively well. I don't think that's going to be the case with the Demon Hunter. I think the skill floor is going to be pretty high. It won't be as low as it was with with Death Knights, excuse me. And then of course I think the skill cap will be probably equally as high as the Death Knight was. So you're gonna really see the really good Demon Hunters popping out versus the scrubs that get in there like, oh, Demon Hunter, I want to play this new one, which is fine. Because, you know, everyone wants to play the new class. I certainly will be playing this class. It's just way too much fun. By the way, just so you know, Fell Rush does not stop at a target. It goes straight through. One little tidbit of information there that I just wanted to relay at the very end. So that's everything with the abilities and the artifact weapon of a Demon Hunter. I believe my cell phone was ringing at the end of this. I'm hoping this didn't go through the video. If it did, I probably will make sure. I'll probably just let the video go through, considering it's not too loud and doesn't disrupt anything. But this was the abilities and artifact weapon video for the Demon Hunter specialization of Havoc. In the next video, we'll be looking at the PvE and PvP talents for a Havoc Demon Hunter, and that will also take a decent amount of time, because I will be going back to the abilities for these talents. I'm not going to assume that you just know every single one of these abilities, because this is all brand new. So I'll be going back and forth to the abilities and the talents, just so that you know what I'm discussing when I actually go through the PvE talents and PvP talents. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed Havoc Demon Hunter. It's not far off until we can start playing with Havoc Demon Hunter. So I will see you guys in the next video. Cheer this out.